to Westminster to join Darren McCaffrey, GBNews' political editor. He's on College Green, and from the sounds of it, there have been some very, very dramatic developments in the last few minutes. Darren.
Yeah, we're talking about this at the top of the programme, weren't we, Nigel, about the confusion over that vote on fracking. Well, my word, if not discipline has broken down, it seems the whole system has broken down, with the most incredible tales of what happened in the voting lobbies within the last 30 minutes or so. We're told by Labour MPs and indeed by other witnesses who were there about how MPs were essentially physically forced into the voting lobby, some of them in tears to back the government, that there was lots of jostling, that Jacob Rees-Mogg was effectively shouting at MPs to follow the government whip. It's led Chris Bryant, the Labour MP, to call on the Speaker to look into all of this, suggesting MPs were bullied in the lobby, and that it goes against the behaviour of MPs. We heard from one who suggested that Theresa Coffey, the Deputy Prime Minister, essentially manhandled another Conservative MP into backing the government. It seems like chaos. Frankly, it seems quite horrendous, actually, in many regards. What has the result of all of this been? Well, first of all, the government has managed to win that vote by 326 to 230, which means around 31 MPs, Conservative MPs, we reckon, voted against the government. But more importantly, it seems tonight that the Chief Whip and the Deputy Chief Whip have resigned from the government over this entire furore. Yes, you heard me right, another resignation, it seems, within government. The Chief Whip and the Deputy Chief Whip have resigned. Nigel, the Deputy Chief Whip, who's a guy called Craig Whitaker, has just come out of the lobby saying, and mind the language here, I am, a word beginning with F, an expletive, furious, and I don't give another word beginning with F, expletive, any more. That's the former now, it seems, Deputy Chief Whip. To say that this feels like the last days of Rome, that everything is falling apart, frankly, that's an understatement. It is falling apart.
Truly and utterly extraordinary, Darren. I do remember at the time of the Maastricht divisions 30 years ago, there was talk of people being gently pushed towards the lobby that the government preferred, and talk of, the whips potentially blackmailing people about perhaps some of their personal habits. But that sounds like a complete breakdown, the likes of which we've probably not seen since the 18th century, when, of course, MPs regularly were all drunk when they were in the House of Commons. Where do we go from here? What happens from here? I mean, aren't we in danger of the whole system falling into full public contempt?
I think we may really be already there in many regards, Nigel, in the sense that, even during the worst of the Brexit days, in terms of like the parliamentary logjam and the shouty arguments we had, it was not at this stage of essential breakdown, particularly on the government's behalf. Where do we go from here? I think many Conservative MPs tonight will now be saying, this literally cannot go on. It's just not functioning as it is. Does that mean that we could see letters pile in tonight, tomorrow? Could Sir Graham Brady have to make a decision? Could those kind of Conservative MPs, the great and good of the party, like Sir Graham Brady, go to the Prime Minister and say the game is up effectively, you now face a vote of no confidence? I think the other thing, though, that Conservative MPs have to be very aware of, Tories voting for Christmas to a degree, because of what you just said, the entire undermining of the system, this will play into Labour's hands, and Labour's argument that there should now just be a general election, that effectively the Conservative Party has lost control of its own MPs, the government is not able to manage things, there's no sense that a change of leader might well remedy all of that, and that now is time for an election. But, we've talked about Liz Truss being in a very precarious situation repeatedly, a hell of a lot over the last couple of weeks, haven't we? Tonight really feels like she is on the edge. And that at any stage she could be pushed over. And we're going to have to wait and see. I'm not going to say it's definitely going to happen within the next 24 hours, but this is a really, really dangerous point for the Prime Minister. Apparently she was ashen-faced in the Commons as that vote was going throughout that chaos, throughout what seems like physical attempts to literally force MPs to back the government.
Well,
that is the level of discipline.
Yeah.
That's how low it is in the Conservative Party, it seems, at the moment.
Darren, thank you for that report.